Hey, Facebook Live, Sean Yesner here, giving you a behind-the-scenes look at another recording of the Crushing Debt podcast. I've got Tim Converse here with Solar Solutions. So say hi to Facebook Live.
Tim. Hey, guys. How you doing?
Facebook Live's over there.
There you are. It's over in that corner.
The screen's there. The Facebook Live is there.
It's technical.
So we're going to be talking about solar power and how it can help with crushing debt, and we'll put those two together. But I wanted you all to give you all a behind-the-scenes look at a recording of one of our shows. So if you are ready, I will get the podcast going.
Let's do it.
On this week's episode of the podcast, Solar Power, is it worth it? So welcome back to the Crushing Debt podcast. My name is Sean Yesner with Yesner Law. And before we get to the topic of the podcast, before I introduce my guest, I want to pay the bills here. So Elliott Wealth Management Services is our sponsor. They've been our sponsor for a few weeks now. They will be our sponsor for a few more months here. They're offering all of my clients a 15-minute life insurance checkup. So I don't know if you have life insurance or not, but if not, you can go to their website, which is elliottwealth.com. You can click the button in the top right corner that they've created for you, and that'll get you your free 15-minute life insurance checkup. Now, one of the things you might be able to do if you get a big life insurance check from a relative who has since passed away, one thing you can do once you get that money is you can install solar in your house. And so that's the guest that I have on today. I've known my guest for about a year now, a little more than a year now, but he has been in the industry for 26 years. He's owned his company, Solar Solutions, for the last 22 years. And so I want to welcome Tim Converse to the podcast. Welcome, Tim.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
So solar power, I guess one of the things people think about solar power is obviously the benefit of reducing electric bills and utility costs. Is that right?
That's correct. Most people either want to eliminate 100% or at least cut it in half.
Okay. So, we were talking before we started recording. So what happens then? I've heard about situations where some of the power goes back to the main grid. Some of the power goes back to the utility company. How does that work?
Well, the solar electric systems they're set up as a grid tie system. And we actually take out your existing meter and we put in a new meter called a bilateral meter. And that actually gives you credit for the excess power that you produce during the day.
So first, your house uses the electricity generated by solar.
Correct.
And then if there's anything left.
Yes, and that's the design typically of the system, is to put as much or little extra as you can on the system. Let's say you had a $200 electric bill. We want to do something that's maybe going to do $210, $220, and then the excess you get credit for. And depending on the municipality, you get about 3 cents a watt back as a credit on your account.
So if you're not, could it ever create a situation where the utility company owes you money?
Well, that's typically what the goal is for most people, is they'd like to have that happen. They've been paying for so many years. They want to get their payback. Let's get Duke back.
Okay. So, that's great that you can reduce electric bills. You can maybe even get some money back from the utility companies, maybe, or if not, at least you're reducing your bills. But then I think the next issue that people have is, well, wait a minute, how much does it cost to install? And I don't necessarily want you to quote. I know that, every house is different, every municipality is different, all that. But for the people that are worried about the upfront costs and how much is it going to cost for me to outfit my house with all these solar panels, what are they looking at typically in terms of the upfront investment?
Well, that's the nice thing about our processes that we have in our programs. We have programs where you can go in at no money down. We can install the whole system. And I know we talked earlier, there's a 30% tax credit going on for the end of this year. And so you could take advantage of that tax credit. And if you were to go on a monthly payment program, the payment would be less than the benefit. So if I put a system on that had a $200 a month benefit, you might be looking about $140, $150 payment. So you're making money every month as you're paying yourself.
I see. Okay. So, but with what we're talking about is trying to get the solar, the investment of getting the solar on the house. And then when we're talking about the tax credits, you mentioned this year it's 30%. Is it changing at all?
Yes, it's a tear down program. This year it's 30%, then it actually goes to 25.5, almost 26%. So this is the first time there's a deduction in it. So this is the first real sense of urgency people have when they want to take advantage of the max tax credit.
Okay, and then for the listeners there, this year as we record is 2019. So hopefully we're creating content that exists on the internet forever. And so if you're listening to this episode in 2021, it may not be 30%. If you're listening, 2022, 23, 24, it may be less or phased out or gone. So as we record, it's 2019, and so right now it's 30%, you said, and then next year would be 2020. It goes down a little bit, and then does it fade? I assume at some point it'll phase out to zero.
It actually goes down to 10%, and then probably at that point you're going to see something through the government where they re-op and hopefully get back to 30% or whatever. But right now it's at its best. It's at its peak right now, and it does tear down to 10%.
Okay, so if you're listening to this episode on the day it comes out, or if you found the show after this episode has come out, but you're still in 2019, definitely give Tim a buzz if you're interested in looking at the benefits of solar for your house. But we've been talking about house, we've been talking about electricity. Solar's good for other things too, right?
We have more swimming pools in the Tampa Bay area than you can imagine. There's over 600,000 swimming pools in the area, and basically about 10% of them are heated. So we can heat a pool very efficiently with solar pool heating.
Okay, and that's now. So, of course, the skeptic is going to say, you really need to heat a house in a pool in Tampa? Does it really get that cold that you need to heat that pool?
It is amazing to think that, but right now it's a 92-degree day.
Right.
The pools right now that are unheated are about 77 degrees. And I don't know about you, but I think that's a little bit too cold to get in.
Yeah. So I agree with you, but I grew up in Miami, so I'm used to taking a swim in bathwater is pretty much what's comfortable for me. But I know there's some people, like my wife, for example, is from Indiana, so 77 would be probably even too warm for her. But I understand if I had a pool, I would want it to be high 70s all the time. Plus, I guess it would also allow you to heat the pool so that you could swim in the dead of these Florida winters when it gets all the way down into the 50s, right?
We're looking at getting you somewhere around 80 degrees in the winter months.
Okay.
And then like right now, most people are keeping about 88 degrees. And really one of the things we talked about earlier is a lot of people don't know you can actually cool the pool with a solar pool heater. So we can actually reverse the process, run the water through at nighttime, and then taking about 6 degrees out of the pool. So if you're like right on a Madeira beach or out on the waterway there, and the pool gets to be too warm, you can cool it down.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize you could do that. That's cool. So I guess pun intended, maybe. So, so, what else? What's the process look like? So someone wants to look at solar. What's the first step after contacting you? What's the next step after that?
It's actually pretty simple. We come out to your house, we do a survey. First of all, we're going to look at your roof. We want to make sure it's in good condition. Last thing you want to do is put this gear up on the roof and then have to re-roof in 2, 4, 5 years. So we've aligned ourselves with a couple roofers. If your roof's in poor shape, we're going to work with them. We'll put a new roof on, so you have a new deck, as we call it, and we'll install it, a package that'll last you a good long time.
Are there a certain number of panels that are necessary, or you just, in other words, do you get more energy the more panels are on the roof? Or would a house where the entire roof is covered have more energy than a house with half the roof covered?
More panels is more energy, of course. We have to design it to make sense, though. You don't want to oversize it by 20, 30 panels. So everybody has a budget. So your average job is anywhere from 15 to 30 panels that we put up there.
How big's a panel?
Each panel is 3 foot by 5 foot, 15 square feet.
Okay.
And so most homes can accommodate those two size systems.
Okay. So then what happens during the day? The unit is accumulating, or the panels rather are accumulating energy. What happens to that energy? Does it get stored somewhere? Does it get put into batteries? What happens to the energy that the panels collect?
They're actually producing a DC current, direct current. Your house is an AC, alternating current. And so we're actually converting and inverting that power over to your home current. The current comes into your main load center, your breaker box, runs all of your appliances. The excess power goes back to your meter or to the grid, and you get credit for that. So there's no batteries. It's called a grid tie system.
Okay.
No need for batteries. And that's one of the things people are always talking about is batteries. Batteries really only have the value when the power goes out.
Okay. Does it matter if it's a cloudy day? Will the unit get as much energy if it's like right now as we record? There's a handful of clouds in the sky, but it's pretty much blue skies. Do the panels consistently collect, or do they actually have to be getting hit by the sun?
It's more of the sun's rays versus the direct heat on them. So they're very, very efficient during the days. And you'll find that the actual efficiency actually comes down in the summer months. They're more efficient anywhere from 70 to 80 degrees outside air temperature. So the excess heat actually makes them a little bit less efficient.
Oh, wow. How so we're in Florida,
Mm-hmm.
which is what, Hurricane Central. How sturdy are these things? Are they gonna break if a bird lands on them, or if a hurricane comes through? You know, my kids, they're young, 7 and 5, you know, and they're constantly throwing balls and frisbees, and they're playing that game where you throw something on the roof and you let it, you know, come down the angle of the roof until it falls off the roof, and you catch it, and then they throw it back up on the roof. Are they going to destroy these things if they do that kind of stuff?
No, that's a nice thing about it. They're pretty bulletproof. The building codes help us with that. They're certified for 135-mile-an-hour wind load, so they're bolted right to the trusses. They're very low profile, so they're not going anywhere. And then the solar panels can take a golf ball at 40 miles an hour, and worst case scenario, a little spider crack, but they'll still work efficiently.
Okay, cool. So I want to give out your information. I do have some more questions, but I want to give out your information. So the email that I got is WTR Warmer, WTRWARMER@MSN.com. Is that still a good?
That is correct.
Okay. And then if you want to go check out Tim's website, it's solarsolutionsinc.net. So again, Solar Solutions with an S, Inc., INC.net. And he's here in Tampa. He's here off of Dale Mabry in Tampa. Do you work just in the Tampa Bay area, or are you all over the state, or do you focus on a specific geography?
Well, we're in a special area that we can actually service. And that's one of the things a lot of people try to take the whole state and they can't service the people. So we want to do a good installation and then take care of good service and provide a good service afterwards. So we basically go up to Spring Hill, down to the Venice area, down just south of Sarasota, and then over to US 27, which is the Polk County area. So basically an hour and a half from the main office in Tampa.
Okay. So is the company, you own the company? Is it a franchise, or is it a company that you own?
It's a company that I own, and I have some exclusive rights for some of the product lines that I carry.
Okay. So if someone is listening, for example, in another state, and they want to talk to someone about solar, is it something that you can connect them to somebody, or do they have to do an internet search? Is it something that you can help with?
I'm actually in a dealer group with some of the product lines that I have, so I can connect them to a local distributor or installer.
Okay, cool. So what else did I not think of to ask about solar? What am I forgetting?
Well, most people want to know, does it really work? And the neat thing is we're not trying something new. These have been out since the 70s. They've really been improved. Each panel has got more power to it. They each have about 350 watts of power. And the products that go with them, we use microinverters to convert from DC to AC. And the neat thing is you actually get a monitoring system now. So you can go online, or you can look on your cell phone, and you can see each power independently performing and seeing that they are working properly.
Oh, wow, like each of the different panels or whatnot you can see?
Yeah, so if you had an array of 30 panels up there, you get 30 little icons, and it would show you each panel that is producing power. So not only does the electric bill go down, you've got a meter that spins backwards, but lastly, you get to see it producing power. We do a lot of the major home shows, and it's kind of neat. A lot of people come by and show us their cell phone and show us that they're making money while they're at the home show.
That's awesome. Is there a warranty or anything that covers? I mean, in case something happens, are they covered?
That's one of the neat things about this. This is a long-term project for everybody involved. When we start talking about dollars, there's about a 9.5-year return on investment. So we're talking to people that are planning to be long-term in their house.
Right.
So the panels themselves have a 25-year warranty. The microinverters that we use have a 25-year warranty, and we give you 10 years workmanship on the roof. So you can feel very comfortable that you're taken care of out there.
Okay. Do you happen to know, you know, a lot of people will say, I'm getting ready to sell my house. And so if I upgrade the kitchen, that'll get me, you know, X back for every dollar I put into the kitchen. Or if I upgrade a bathroom, or that'll put X dollars back for every, and I know it's not a dollar for dollar return in any instance, but do you have any data that says houses with solar sell for, you know, X% more, X% less, whatever the statistic happens to be?
I think it's based on the client that's looking to purchase the house. If somebody wants an energy efficient home, that's what they're going to look for.
Okay. Yeah. So the green movement starts with solar.
Yes, and people are not tree huggers anymore. We've kind of weeded those people out. They purchased many years ago when the return was 15 to 20 years.
Right.
And now that the return is 9.5%, these are normal modern people that are taking advantage of the tax credits and realizing their benefits.
Gosh, tree huggers. Do I have to mark the episode explicit now? I'm not. Forget it. Okay. So, great. That's, you know, I think solar is a great way if you're looking at, you know, how am I going to cut some money out of the budget? I mean, there may be an upfront investment to it, but especially if you can finance it. And like you said, if the amount you're going to pay to finance the solar is less than what you're going to save, so you're going to save more money by eliminating the electricity bill, like you said, I mean, that would be a great way to cut some expenses, be a little bit more green, be a little bit more environmentally friendly rather than being a tree hugger. Anything else that we missed? Anything else that you wanted to add?
One of the conversations that come up are battery backup systems.
Okay.
And that's really been a big thing we've been talking about. The one thing a lot of people don't know is that when the solar is working and the power goes out, it does not actually work. It doesn't provide any power to your house. You actually have to have power to the breaker that changes you from the DC to the AC current.
Okay.
Okay. So backup power comes into play. One is energy efficiency. The other is backup power if the power goes out. Most of the battery systems right now, there's several big names that people know of. They're having a lot of problems. They're not that efficient and they're very expensive. So if you look at a return on investment, understanding that every 6 to 8 years, you're going to have to replace the batteries with a great cost, typically they're not a good investment right now. So if they're not really ready for prime time, probably next 2 to 3 years. So if you're looking to do a backup battery system, just be patient. The new systems are coming out and I think you're going to be a lot happier with them.
Okay. So if we are hit by that hurricane and the power goes out, the solar continue to power the house, you would still need like a backup generator or something that would kick in.
We've been doing a lot of jobs with Generacs. So a small Generac basically has backup power to the breaker that goes to our converter, basically. And so for a very small backup power system, then you're running all the appliances during the day with the solar.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Well, thank you again for being a guest on the show.
Oh, it's fantastic. Enjoyed it.
And again, for all of you that want to contact Tim, and I'll put this in the show notes as well, so you can get this from the show notes, but it's WTRwarmer@msn.com, or go to solarsolutionsInc.net and you can contact, I assume there's contact information and whatnot on the website, although I just gave him your email. But thanks again, Tim, for being an episode on the show.
Oh, thank you. Enjoyed it.
And again, for all of you, go visit our sponsor, Elliott Wealth Management, if you want that free 15-minute life insurance checkup. And I think that's all we have for this week's episode of the Crushing Debt Podcast. And we look forward to talking to you in next week's episode. Cool. And we're done recording, but we're still on Facebook Live. So thank you, Shannon. Shannon loves the podcast. Thank you, Shannon. Does anybody else have any questions for me or Tim? We'll try to get a little bonus content for those of you watching on Facebook Live, or for when you pick this up on YouTube. For all of the no people. Oh, one person just popped on. 2 people just popped on. Well, for any of you that just popped on, do you have any questions about solar? Let us know. Put it in the comments. We'll see if we can create some bonus content for those of you watching on Facebook Live. If not, Todd Maddox is watching. So, hey, Todd, say hi to Tim.
Hey, Todd, what's going on?
And Todd, when are you going to be on the show? You can come talk all about computers. He's probably already popped off. So anyway, we'll stop the Facebook Live feed by now for now. So thanks again, Tim. I appreciate it. Thank you, Facebook Live. Next time I have a guest on, I'll fire up Facebook Live. You can watch us record an episode of the podcast. This one should be coming out in a couple of weeks. Although, again, if you're watching this on YouTube, that means the show is already out. And I appreciate you all tuning in, and we'll talk to you again in the next episode. Todd wants us to invite him. You're invited, Todd. Send me an email. Catch me at BNI. We'll get you on. There you go.